प्रथमः प्रश्नः। हरिः ॐ। सुकेशाच भारद्वाजश्रेभ्यश्च सत्यकामः सौर्यायणी च गार्ग्यः कौसल्यश्चाश्वलायनः भार्गवो वैदर्भिः कबन्धी कात्यायनस्ते हैते ब्रह्मपरा ब्रह्मनिष्ठाः परं ब्रह्मान्वेषमाणा एषः वै तत्सर्वं वक्ष्यतीति तेह समित्पाणयो भगवन्तं पिप्पलादमुपसन्नाः। तान् हस ऋषिरुवाच भूय एव तपसा ब्रह्मचर्येण श्रद्धया संवत्सरं संवत्स्यथ यथा कामं प्रश्नान् पृच्छथ यदि विज्ञास्यामः सर्वं भवो वक्ष्याम इति। अथ कबन्धी कात्यायन उपेत्य पप्रच्छ भगवन् कुतो ह वा इमाः प्रजाः प्रजायन्त इति। तस्मै स होवाच प्रजाकामो ह वै प्रजापतिः स तपोतप्यत स तपस्तप्त्वा समिथुनमुत्पादयते रयिं च प्राणं चेति। एतौ मे बहुधा प्रजाः करिष्यत इति। आदित्यो ह वै प्राणो रयिरेव चन्द्रमाः रयिर्वा एतत्सर्वं यन्मूर्तं चामूर्तं च तस्मान्मूर्तिरेव रयिः। अथादित्य उदयन् यत्प्राचीं दिशं प्रविशति तेन प्राच्यान् प्राणान् रश्मिषु सन्निधत्ते। यद्दक्षिणं यत्प्रतीचिं यदुदीचिं यदधो यदूर्ध्वं यदन्तरादिशः यत्सर्वं प्रकाशयति तेन सर्वान् प्राणान् रश्मिषु सन्निधत्ते। स एष वैश्वानरो विश्वरूपप्राणोऽग्निरुदयते तदेतदृचाभ्युक्तम्। विश्वरूपं हरिणं जातवेदसम्परायणं ज्योतिरेकं तपन्तम् सहस्ररश्मिः शतधा वर्तमानः प्राणः प्रजानामुदयत्येष सूर्यः।
हरि ओम। In the fourth mantra, the Guru started answering the question of Kabandhi, who asked, whence are these creatures born? In effect, asking, how did this whole world of plurality, the world that I see, how did it come? From where has it emerged? In effect, he's asking the very cause of this whole world, the whole cause of creation. We said, only a student who is risen above the world, who is risen above the attachments to the world, who is not caught up in the pluralistic phenomenon, has the best chance of even questioning such a question. Most of us are caught up in the world of plurality, as they say, the world of Nama Rupa. So one who is not caught up in the world of plurality has the best chance of inquiring into that which is the very cause of it. So that precursor, as it were, that pre-qualification the student comes with. As we know, the student is a highly qualified student. Many theories of creation have been given, as we mentioned. These theories of creation are just meant to appease an inquirer. A true inquirer will never be satisfied with mere theories or propositions of creation. It's like saying, when somebody asks who created the world, if you say God created the world, a mere superficial inquirer would be quite satisfied with it. But a true inquirer understands the word God is also yet another unknown term. He would not be satisfied because you don't have an answer to the question. And then we said in the fourth mantra, he also gives a theory, which is tradition. Various textbooks have given various theories. To him, which is the student, he said, the Guru said, Prajapati, who is the creator, the Lord of creatures, desirous of progeny, performed penance, and he created a pair. And the pair, matter and prana, that they would produce creatures in many. This is a translation. We already covered it. I'm just trying to touch upon the mantra to take it forward. Now, as I've said, we have got a philosophical perspective to this creation. Before I get to that, in Vedantic philosophy, we do not accept that the world started at a particular time. We don't accept Vedantic logic, don't accept that the world started at a particular time. You give it a date, you give it a time and say the world started at a particular time. If you say so, in fact, if you carefully analyze, if at all anybody says that the world started at a particular time, there's a fallacy to that statement. There's a serious fallacy to the statement to say that the world started at a particular time. Now, what's the fallacy? Now, for a moment, you must understand everything in the world is measured with time, space, and causation. In fact, the world is measured, world is defined by time, space, causation. Time is all pervading, space and causation. Space is all pervading, time is eternal, and causation is infinite. A small correction there. Space is all pervading, time is eternal, and causation is infinite. These are the measuring tools that we use to measure the world. Now, if I say that the world started at a particular time, what am I doing? I'm making a fundamental fallacy. What is the fallacy here? That you're creating the world before its existence. Because when I say the world started at a particular time, the word world or time is a measurement between two intervals, between two experiences. Time is born only at the second experience. There is no time at the first experience. Time is born at the second experience. Time is not born at the first experience. Therefore, the unit of time is called second. The unit of time is not called first, it's called second, because time is born in the second experience. And if I were to say the world began at a particular time, I'm contradicting the very measuring tool with which I'm measuring the world. So I'm creating the world before it's created, because time is born at the second experience, but you are saying the world existed at the very first experience. There's a fallacy. There's a logical fallacy in that. Therefore, Vedanta does not accept it starting at a particular time. So the question of you saying it starts at a particular time must be dismissed. And then I'm only telling where you could be wrong in certain arguments. Now, what you should come back to is the philosophical Vedantic concept. We spoke about the microcosm and the macrocosm. The microcosm is the individual, the macrocosm is the world. In order to understand the macrocosm, if you understand the microcosm, then you can project it. What did we say the microcosm? There are two concepts, the concepts of the subjective creation and the subjective dissolution. The subjective is the individual. The subjective, you narrow it down, it is the mind. When the mind dissolves, the dissolution of the mind is known as pralaya. The creation of the subjective mind is known as prabhava. So there is this cycle of pralaya and prabhava going on throughout the day. In 24 hours, there is this dissolution and evolution, as it were, awake and arise, sleep. The creation and dissolution is happening throughout the day. 24 hours, certainly it's happening. So what is the subjective mind's dissolution, pralaya mean? When the mind goes into deep sleep, the pralaya, when the mind goes into deep sleep, your entire world disappears. The solidarity of the world does not exist because deep sleep is said to be a state of shunyam, a state of zero, a state of nothingness. So that's a sign that the world that we are experiencing disappears, dissolves into nothingness because the mind has gone into the state of pralaya. But when the same mind wakes up, the subjective mind goes to the prabhava, there is the awakening, the creation of the waking and dream states. What does it establish? The world that we are experiencing is nothing but a projection of the mind. The world that we are living in is nothing but a picture painted by the reel of your thoughts. Each one of us experiencing different worlds because of the different reels that are running through the projector. That's all that is. You change the reel, the projection changes. The reel is the continuous flow of thoughts that gives a solidarity to the world. In the olden days, when we used to watch movies in the theaters, there were days, I remember with Ushama here, the initial days, Malaysia, initial days when I knew her in the early 2000s, she had taken over, maybe she had taken over a while earlier, but I knew her. She took over the business from her father, and they used to edit reels which used to for the theaters, for the movies. All reels used to come, and they used to do subtitling in Bahasa, Malay, and in English. Much later on, it's all become digital now. Her son taken over a few years ago. But I knew how they used to do it. So in our days, earlier days, sometimes when the reel ends and the fellow who is managing has not put a continuous reel, the reel ends, there's only a splash of light on the screen. And then the crowd goes restless because then something has stopped, the projection has stopped. Nowadays it's all digital, so you don't have to worry in fact, people don't have patience to sit through after the movie, the long list of those who have created also. They get up and walk off. but the reel doesn't end. That doesn't happen. Now, drawing a parallel there, it is so perfect. If you take the comparison, their comparison to the when we say the world is a projection of the mind to the projection in a theater, there's an actual similarity. And if you draw the parallel, it makes it very clear. So every time you can come back on this example and say, the onus is on me, what world I'm projecting. So what are the elements in the projector? There is the screen, there is the projector, the equipment, there is the reel, there is the bulb in the projector, and there's a person who's controlling the entire projection. All of this put together, there is a beautiful movie to watch. Right? Ashwati, have you got all the points? What are the points? I don't trust you. You have to repeat.
Hari Om Guruji. Yeah, I think I got the points. The elements that go into the projection of movies in the theater include screen, the projector, the reel, the bulb, and the person controlling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start. Where you want to start with? What do you know the answer? You start with that. What is the aspects of comparison of this projection in a theater to the world that you and I are experiencing is a projection.
Yeah.
Let's leave the screen to the last.
Okay. Yeah.
Kanna Shivaji. No answering, huh? I know there's something that you're laughing. So, the lamp or the bulb in the projector. There is a bulb, the lamp, or whatever you call it. Okay. Start.
Okay. So the projector will be your mind.
You must start collecting fines from the class. I'll make good money. Otherwise, nothing is coming. Seriously. Ramji will introduce a system of collecting fines, sir. Like you drive and you break the rules, you get fine, no? Break traffic signal, you jump the line, you turn when there's no free left, you all pay fines. Like that, wrong answer, pay fine. One more chance. Then your license will be revoked.
Okay. So can we say the person controlling is yourself?
Be specific.
Is the individual? Okay, the self. The self.
No. Let me get somebody else. But Ashwati, you got it right to a large extent. Pramita, think along. Others all stalwarts, they would have heard me before. Therefore, I'm just getting with those who are maybe hearing for the first time. You've heard this before?
Hari Om Guruji. No, I think yes, maybe perhaps when you were in Kuala Lumpur and you were giving a talk, you might have made some inferences about that. Or perhaps that was, I think, more to do with the electricity in the bulb. So I may be confusing the two. Uh, yes, I have to say this is quite mental gymnastics to try and get my head around it, but I'm going to have to, it's guessing again, Guruji, if you will please excuse me. It's very much going to be guesswork.
Start with one guess because we
Okay,
can't take guess of everything.
the real would be the mind.
Got it. Perfect. The projector, the
The
equipment.
The screen, can I say the screen would be the world and the world we experience?
Absolutely. The screen, when you walk into the theater, before the projection starts, what do you see?
You're seeing advertisements and
Before the
various.
projection, madam,
Then it's blank.
there's
Then
only
it's
white
blank.
screen. Nothing has started. You have gone when they are cleaning. You go entered somehow into the theater. They're not opened
That's
up.
right.
So
Yeah.
it's a white screen, which means the world is neutral.
Neutral, that's right. There's nothing at that point of time. So it's only when we awaken into the awakening world, so to speak, and the mind is awake, and we start to project all the thoughts in our mind, all our vasanas and all of that, all the thoughts that are constantly there are projecting our living reality as we know it.
Okay.
Um,
So the screen is the world which is neutral. The reel that is continuously rolling is the mind and its thoughts. Now,
yes.
what else is left in the comparison?
I guess
The
what's missing
projector?
now
No, no. I
is
asked about
okay.
what's the projector, ma?
Projector here. I'm a bit stuck with that one, Guruji. I'm not
No,
absolutely
it
sure.
should be easy. Projector is the physical body. The
Okay,
bulk
okay,
equipment, the whole equipment as such is the personality, is what
okay.
the individual in totality is. Because the reel goes into the projector, isn't it?
Yes, correct. So it's the equipment.
The equipment, the projector equipment is the physical body.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And
We're filled in
would
three
the
blanks, right?
person, beg your pardon, Guruji?
Have we filled in three blanks?
Yes, three blanks, the screen, the projector, and the reel. So
What is
I
left?
still I still have to explain the bulb and the person. So still struggling a bit. Mm, could it be that the person is the consciousness, the Atman? No?
You're just mixing it up.
Yeah,
The
I'm mixing it up.
person, the
Yeah.
person who is controlling the entire projection is the intellect.
Ah,
He has a control what reel to put. He can, in the whole day in the theater, there may be 6 shows going on, or 5 shows going on, or 4 shows going on. The first can be a action movie. The second can be a thriller. The third movie is a comedy. The fifth movie is usually a haunting. That guy has a choice what reel to put, right? When to clip it, what not to clip it, what not to do. At least he has a liberty to do. That person who is controlling is the intellect.
that makes so much sense now. Yeah, that's a wonderful analogy.
Is incomplete. I've only covered 4 blanks. One more blank is still there.
I know. I was hoping you wouldn't mention it. Then
No,
I'm still
we'll
stuck.
get to it. No. But you have done very good. So what is the fifth one, Amitama? The blank.
Hari Om Guruji.
Correct.
I'm sorry. Is it the light, the bulb?
What is it? What is left in the equation of an individual?
I was going to say desire, but I'm not sure.
Nah, come on.
No.
You people should do warm up before coming for the class. No warm up at all. It's like directly going into a test match without any warm up. Clean bowl. I'm sorry to say. Come on. Desires are in the mind, right? The thoughts and desires are the mind, the real. The lamp, which has got nothing to do whether you put a tragedy or a comedy or an action or a thriller or anything. That light has got nothing to do with the real, right?
Right, sir.
And what is it in you that has nothing to do whether you do a constructive action or a destructive action, a malevolent action or a benevolent action?
So this is the Shakshi, the observer.
What is it? What is it? In you,
Consciousness.
the consciousness, the pure light of consciousness is that the light in the projector that makes it all happen.
Yeah.
Without the light, there cannot be any projection, but the light has got nothing to do whether the projection is a comedy or a tragedy. The bulb is the same, the projector is the same, the screen is the same, the intellect is the same, but the projection depends on the reel, which is the thoughts in your mind. Sick thoughts, sick mind, complaining thoughts, complaining mind, aggressive thoughts, aggressive mind, charitable thoughts, charitable mind, forgiving thoughts, forgiving mind, stupid thoughts, stupid mind. Some people hold on to their stupidity as if that is all that is. Okay, you hold on to your stupidity. That is all your life like this. Filthy thoughts, filthy mind. Unforgiving thoughts, unforgiving mind. This is the world. So the entire world is a projection of your mind. So there's a pun on the word projection. So fall back on the example of the projector. You got the concept. So the whole thing changes on the reel. The reel is the mind, the continuous thoughts that your mind creates, and the intellect has a complete control or mastery over what thoughts you give it a permit or a sanction. The moment the intellect has no control, your world is at the mercy of whatever your mind entertains. Most people have no control over what they're projecting. So whatever comes into the mind, they say, it's like you have no control over your tongue. Anything that comes to your tongue, you blabber. Some people are like that. They've got a very slippery tongue, as they say. No control over their thoughts, what they talk. Man, come on. You have a choice. You may feel many things, but you have a choice what you commit, right? Similarly, you may entertain many thoughts. The choice is with you, how you exercise the control. So the prabhava and pralaya, this is when now you get to the concept, the subjective dissolution and the subjective creation, which is the pralaya and prabhava create the world, the solidarity of the world. So if you ask, when did the world begin? The world began when your mind woke up. The world, when will it end? When your mind ends. Relatively in deep sleep, absolutely when your mind is completely annihilated, there is no more the world. So this is as far as the concept of philosophical concept of creation and dissolution of the world. Simple example, but very powerful message. So don't complain of the projection. You complain about the thoughts that are in your mind. That is what is being projected. Change the thoughts, the projection automatically changes. Like the projector who is controlling, he changes the reel, the movie changes, the entire scenario changes. So don't point a finger at the projection, point a finger at the reel that is being running in your mind. Okay, now if you go back to the mantra, he said the creator created out of his own penance a pair. The pair is matter and prana. Prana, we have described it, we are translating it as energy. And Rai, which is matter. So the pair that was created is matter and energy. Matter can be referred to as the mass or the girth of beings. And mass, the girth of beings is matter. And energy is that vitality in the matter that makes it vibrate with activity. So the matter is the girth of living beings, and energy or prana is that which gives vitality to it. For example, take an example of a fiddle. What is fiddle? A violin. A violin is compared to here as matter, dead matter. But then the dead matter has the ability to produce melodious music. So the ability to create vibrations, the ability to create sound, to create melody is the prana. When the prana, which is the energy operating through the mass of the fiddle, there is that melodious, songful music of life. Matter comes into life. And the matter comes into life because of the prana. Without the prana, the mass is lifeless, dead, insentient. Even when you take it from a concept of science, what does science say? Science says that energy in motion is matter. I'm not as much of a science student, but you will agree to it. Vedanta and science go hand in hand, but Vedanta takes a great leap where science ends. So they are very similar. Okay. Energy in motion is matter. And it's because of the energizing principle that operates through matter. Yes, Shivaji?
Vinayji, in this concept of the screen and the projection, the light, now only you just said energy is the prana, the light. So in that example also, the light should be the thing and the screen is the pure consciousness on which we project. Whatever we project will not even touch the screen. There could be a fire scene going on, but it does not touch the screen. Actually, the example given is always the screen is a consciousness. The light is a prana which would differ with each other. How much of prana you raise within yourself, that projects the light. That is the classic example of this whole thing as given by Ramana. I just thought I would share it.
See, there are
Screen
various,
is a pure consciousness.
Many masters have given various interpretations to the example. Example is can be used in a specific context. We can also take, as rightly said, the screen also can be taken the consciousness, but then we confuse the context in which we are saying.
Because the whole game starts with the screen. Without a screen, nothing else matters. Where do you will project? What you will project?
You can project it on a wall also. You don't need a screen to project.
That's a screen. The wall is a screen again.
No, sir, please. Let's not get into a point which is right, which is wrong. As I said, nobody is right, nobody is wrong. Is from what context you are interpreting the example. Example is neutral. The concept can't change. When you say the prana, what is the prana? Prana is the life-giving force. Even the prana in you and me is the same. So even the concept of that light, without the light in the projector, there cannot be any projection. Okay, take the screen. Imagine the bulb is fused. There cannot be. The question of projection doesn't arise. So the vital concept it's all about interpretation. So nobody's right or wrong. Please get that right first. The point in the concept, I'm just clarifying because you raised it. The light in the projector is essential for any projection. But if I were to compare the different worlds that you and I are experiencing, considering the world which is like the screen, which is neutral, it appears good, it appears bad. You appear good or bad because of what my projection on you. You are not essentially good or bad by yourself. What I see in you. So to drive home that particular point, we laid that the neutral element or the life-giving element, the sakshi in the whole process is the lamp. When we talk on different contexts, we explain only about the screen. We say the screen, the conflagration. On one scene, there's a conflagration. Another scene, there's a massive fire. After the conflagration, or the flood. The screen is not burnt or the screen is not wet. So when you take that particular concept of the projector of the screen itself, then you draw in that concept. So there's a specific idea in this concept. We are quoting it in a specific context. So there's no necessity to get confused or mix up. Okay, sir. Because this concept also helps when you try and understand that the world is neutral. It's what your thoughts, where you lay emphasis on. If I want to see the good in you, I'll see the good in you. I want to see the bad in you, I'll see the bad in you. But if some people only choose to see bad in you, you can't help it. That's all. The world appears bad because I choose to see bad in you. The world appears good because I choose to see the good in you. In a situation, I mean, if I see the good is because of what I choose to see. So the world is neutral. That's what I'm saying. The world is neutral. It's what you choose to project. And all happens because of the light, which is the consciousness, the lamp, without which there's no projection, that which is that life-giving force. So you can say the prana or the consciousness is the same. It's not different. How can you differentiate the prana, the life-giving force, to Atman? Prana is the same, life-giving force. Okay. Now the next mantra, the fifth mantra, he actually gives a poetic comparison to what that prana and what that matter is. And the next few mantras are full of poetry and imagination, and you need to get into the right imagination of the Guru. Yes, ma'am.
इति आदित्यो ह वै प्राणो रयिरेव चन्द्रमाः रयिर्वा एतत्सर्वं यन्मूर्तं चामूर्तं च तस्मान्मूर्तिरेव रयिः
Adityah havai pranah. The sun is verily the prana, and the moon is the matter. All that have form and all that is formless is matter. Amurta, which is formless, murtaha, which is form. Form and formless is matter. Tasmat, therefore, murtihi eva raihi. Form is indeed matter. Don't get confused. It's just a beautiful concept is being conveyed. I'll get to it. Prana, and those of you, I'm sure you will want to write down. The mantra will be copied in the chat box very soon, so you can jot it down from there. So what he is saying is the prana is being compared to the sun. Prana is the energy, is a life-giving force, is the sun, and Raihi is the moon, which is the matter. In fact, in the Yoga Shastra, the presiding deity of the mind is the moon. The presiding deity of matter is the moon. In fact, they say Mati, the Sanskrit yogic word Mati, is the same for the mind and the moon. So the word Mati means the mind and moon. So moon is the presiding deity of matter. Sun is the presiding deity of the prana. These are the two. You must giving again examples. See, every example has a limitation. You know, we were told this, Shivaji, you mentioned that earlier. I'm not holding on to that, but I'm reminded of it. Therefore, I'm bringing it out here. We were always told that never convey a concept or an example. Example is only used to elucidate a concept, but the concept must be solid, because the example can always be interpreted or twisted in whatever manner. There's a lacuna, there's a shortfall in example. The concept is wholesome, not an example. So it can always be seen from here or there, but the concept doesn't change. The fundamentals and a concept remains the same. You can always interpret an example in a different way, but therefore understand the limitations in any example or comparative study. So when you take the sun and the moon, there are limitations. So don't take it in its holistic way. In a contextual way, you say sun is the prana, the moon is the matter. Okay. So what he's saying, the Prajapati expresses the creator through his own tapas, has created this too. Again, poetic. Don't sit and argue and say, who is this fellow has so much power to create prana also? No. It's all poetic. Now, all that which is form and all that is formless is matter. It's very easy. What is form here? The living beings, the inert objects around us is form. And what is formless? Which he says that also is matter, he says. Aparoji.
Yes, Guruji.
What do you consider is formless, which he considers is as matter?
That was my question, Guruji. In fact, when you say form, it is easy to understand that, it is a matter. Okay. And when the matter is energized, then you have this whole Jagat that is happening and which is moving. And whereas, how can that is formless, that is nirvikara, can become matter, which is my doubt too. I wanted to understand from you.
Sir, I am not an easy guru, I'm a difficult guru. How can I ask an easy question to you? Tell me.
Yes, Guruji. You
Thank
always
you.
put people on spot.
No, I could read your mind that you also had same question. One or two people will be thinking.
It's not only me, sir. I think most of us who are listening to the discourse.
So please don't say, how does it matter? It does matter. Because matter has to be defined. It doesn't say, don't say it doesn't matter, how does it matter? Matter matters. So what is that formless matter? Since Abharauji also is in the same stance of the Guru questioning, we will move on. What is formless matter? Sureshji has gone into another realm altogether. I told by mistake, I said, please kindle your poetic mind. He has become a poet already. Enna sir, Solungo, Chapan sir.
Guruji, the clay is formless. It doesn't have a form. But the moment the clay is used to make a pot, the pot has a form. But the clay is matter, formless. The pot is matter, it has a form. And therefore, the clay and the pot both are matter.
Appa, enna clarity. Perfect. But please help us understand without the example. See, example is only given to explain the concept. Now we are trying to establish the concept. Glad I mentioned this little while earlier. So
matter therefore represents both the formless as well as the form. You see, the entire atmosphere around us, it is formless. But then that is the screen on which the play of the world, the play of life goes on. Therefore, matter, it is the bottom line that the matter is both formless and has a form. When the intellect is used, the form comes into being. When the desires, the mind and the intellect get together, a form is given, and then the form comes into being.
See, I can see your imagination running a little wild. But if you go with the concept, sir, at the end also he says, therefore form is indeed matter, he says. So even though he mentions about the formless, it's still a question mark, sir, as far as the inquiry is concerned. But as you rightly say, everything falls back on form. Form is that which is definitely matter. So in Vedanta, where does life express? Okay, before I get to that, Seduji.
Hari Om Guruji. Formless is here, it is energy. Formless is
Formless is not energy. Energy is prana. Formless also is matter. If you carefully note, he said form and formless both are matter, he says. He doesn't say formless is energy. And there's nothing wrong in the mantra.
sun is also matter.
No. That's why I said don't go about going beyond the concept. The author is trying to say sun is symbolized as prana, the energy, life-giving force. And the next couple of mantras establishes that. Just like he says, when the sun rises, this particular hemisphere has woken up, that life-giving force. And in the Western hemisphere, the sun has come down, everything goes into a dissolution state, inactive, sleep, sloth, inertia, tamas comes in. The moment the sun sets here, this hemisphere, which is vibrant with activity, sets into sleep, into sloth. And that hemisphere, which was in sloth, wakes up into activity. So sun is that which is that vitalizing force. Therefore, he compares that energy which vitalizes matter as the sun. So there is a direct reason why sun is the presiding deity of prana. And the moment moon comes in, there is inactivity.
The reflection.
Sir, please don't so your thinking must be in control. So I'm trying to control your thinking. Moon is not being referred here as reflection. Moon here is the presiding deity of the mind. Moon is matter. When there is moon, there is no vitality, there is no activity. Everything is inactive. So a person sitting on a beach on a full moon day, he is just stretching out with a drink in his hand and relaxing and enjoying that evening. The same person on the same beach, sitting on the same couch, when the sun rises the next day, there is no more the drink in his hand. He wants to venture out into the ocean with a, what do you call that? Skiing, not skiing, what do you call that? Surfing. He'll pick up a surfboard and he wants to go into the ocean, or he wants to go for a jog on the beach. He will not sit and relax. Why? Everything is vitalized energy. So the moon is dead matter, sun is vitalizing. The next three mantras clarify that. But the question still stands, what is that formless which is also as matter? Okay? Thanks, Eduji. Vasantama. It's actually not difficult. It's only because it is being put in his poetic way, we are all stretching our imagination. Yes, Ma?
Guruji, is it vasanas, causal body?
How do you get that idea?
The mind, the intellect, and the vasanas, they are all no form.
Okay. Can you expand further, please?
And that is also matter. It is not the consciousness. It's not the self. Like negating.
Negating. What else is the attribute of matter? In fact, you're absolutely spot on. The formless matter is the subtle body and the causal body. Excellent, Vasantama. But why do you put this into category of matter?
Because it is not a it is the one which creates all the desires in the world.
No. Why do you categorize mind, intellect, and vasanas as matter? It is subtle matter. You're right. But why do you, what is the, if somebody were to
Matter is
question you,
energy.
no,
plus motion
matter is not energy.
Yeah, matter is not energy. Energy plus motion is matter.
Don't even mix that. Forget that. You're right in terms of saying that mind, intellect, and vasanas is matter. My question is, if somebody were to ask you, give me argument, why do you put them in matter? You're right. It is formless matter. You can end the case there. But what is the argument you can give them as matter? You can give an argument that matter is perishable in nature. Gross matter perishes, subtle matter also perishes. But that's prana, which is energy, that is imperishable. Just to give you when you give an argument, you must have a supporting logic to that argument. I'm just trying to extend the thought process, but you're spot on. Excellent when you said that formless matter is mind and intellect and vasanas. Yes, ma.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. There you got the answer. This is where a concept that we have learned earlier will help us understand this. See, life happens when there is a combination of spirit plus matter. Now, in the context, spirit is the prana, symbolized as the sun, and matter is being symbolized as the moon. Right? Now, what I want to draw is matter is being said here in the verse as form and formless. The form is the body, which is gross matter. Formless is subtle and causal bodies, which is subtle matter. So all you must understand, life happens when there is these three elements: spirit plus gross matter plus subtle matter. When these three come together, there is expression of life. Life, when there is activity, when the spirit, which is said as the prana, prana plus energy plus matter, is life. So the mantra is saying form and formless is matter. So the question which Vasantam answered, formless matter, is the subtle and causal bodies, which is subtle matter. And the characteristics of subtle matter is matter per se is lifeless, including subtle matter. In the example, if you were to take an example of this, going earlier, Pramitama has said, if life is equals light, spirit is electricity, the gross matter is the bulb, and the subtle matter is the filament in the bulb. You can understand the concept of formless or subtle matter, rather, not formless there, but filament also is a seen form. Again, limitation and example, but the filament is subtle matter. Sometimes the bulb is intact, but the filament has subtle, slight filament which is there, which is snapped. Therefore, there is no light coming in. Now, this also explains why there is no life in inert objects. Why is there no light in inert objects? Atman is very much there. Shailajamma, can I ask you this? I'm sure you can intelligently project. From the chart, God is everywhere. But the table that you're using, the chair you're sitting in, is dead matter. There's no life in that, isn't it? Why is there no life in that matter? What is missing in the equation?
Doesn't have the subtle matter?
Absolutely right. The inert objects doesn't have the formless or the subtle matter. It only has gross matter. So the difference between you, me, us, and inert objects is formless matter is missing. But then as a doctor, you would know in dead body also there's no life. So dead body is nothing but like inert matter. It becomes inert matter. Why? The subtle matter has left the gross body.
Yes.
As we learned in the recent satsangs, when the subtle matter has left, our gross body also becomes like just another gross matter, lifeless. Not that Atman has left. Atman is very much there. The subtle matter has left. Therefore, there is no life. You and I are dead. So it fits in perfectly. If you get the fundamentals right, you will not go wrong. Your understanding becomes very clear. Glad you got that, Shailajama. So the formless matter has moved on. Okay. Now comes to the tricky part in the mantra. The tricky part in the mantra, this was not the tricky part though, because he puts it in a different language, we have to clarify it. But once you have the fundamentals, as I told you, it should not be difficult to understand. Now the tricky part is where he says, therefore, form is indeed matter, he says. So what could be the logical explanation for that? Having established that form and formless is matter, he says, therefore, form is indeed matter. Any thoughts, Ramji? Why does he fall back on form?
Very well, sir.
Very good, sir.
No, it's I am also not able to make out, sir. Form indeed is matter. I mean, in a way, it is what we always learned, that formless is the energy and form is the matter, and these two come together to create life. So, but form is the matter. When he says formless is also. But as I said earlier, both are matter and both are perishable. That's what you said earlier.
Yes.
Is it in that context? But here again, he's only pointing out form. He's not, having already said that form and formless are matters. Why is he picking up only form?
Why? That's the thing. See, what we are helpless but to get into the head of the guru and say, what is he trying to say? And that's where our intellect is stretched, but it has to be controlled. That's what a classroom like this does. Otherwise, we may go off tangent. It's a controlled discussion. I'm encouraging the dialogue, but in a controlled manner.
But if you see, let's say in this example, bulb and filament, if you see, they both have form, right? Whether it is a gross body or a subtle body, both have form. And that is a matter. The electricity, which is the energy part, is not matter.
There's a limitation in the example I did mention. The filament is, though seen, it is a subtle element in the structure of a bulb. Therefore, I said it as a filament.
I know, but subtle and causal bodies don't have.
They're formless, correct.
So, I don't know, sir. I can't make out.
In fact, he's giving by, okay, I appreciate your point, sir, or inability to clarify. But what we must understand is he is giving the emphasis, rather, he is saying the formless exists because of the form. Almost stating to that effect. So giving importance to the form than the formless. Therefore, form is matter. So the form is responsible for the formless. I'm giving you a cue there to think.
But is that always correct?
Once we clarify the concept, then I leave the floor open for questions, sir. I'm not explaining the concept.
Because we just saw the example of a table and chair where we said that it is the gross body, but there is no subtle body in that. So the gross body doesn't always have the subtle body, right? So
yes, gross body doesn't have subtle body.
So when we say that I don't know, it's not very clear. Yeah.
Let me hear out Sureshji and others, then I'll clarify, sir. Sureshji?
Yeah, Guruji, the form is responsible for the formless, is what you just stated. Now, let us take the form. The gross body is the form. Now, therefore, the gross body has to first of all exist. If the gross body exists, then the gross body is the medium through which the subtle and the causal bodies function. Therefore, the subtle and causal bodies can function up to their optimum level most efficiently only when the gross body is in top condition. And therefore, let us say, for example, somebody is deprived of food for months together. He will become absolutely frail. And there is no way his mind or intellect, the subtle or the causal body, nothing can function. Therefore, the gross body has to be in good condition for the subtle and causal body to express itself through this medium.
You made my job much easier. That's all I'll say. Thank you. Setuji. Yes, sir.
Form is keep changing and it is perishable. So it is indeed matter. Matter keep changing and perishable. So it is.
But same applies to formless as well. Formless also, vasanas and your thoughts keep changing and they're also perishable. But why does he conclude by saying, therefore, form is indeed matter? Sorry?
As he says, if there is no form, there is no formless.
I'm sorry?
Form is the source for formless.
Source, or he says is a cause, you can say. Yeah, you can say so. But we're asking why. That's the question. Okay, sir. Aparoji.
Guruji, we are discussing form and formless. And let us take the two types of bodies. One is animated and inanimated body. The inanimated body, as per the discussion, what I understand is it doesn't have the subtle matter. But what about the tattva of the inanimated body? It has, even though it is a solid, matter, which is occupying space and which is also having a mass, it has certain characteristics of its own. It may be having fragrance or it may be having a reactive material. And that tattva is the subtle matter for an inanimated body. We cannot rule out that there is no subtle matter for inanimated body. That's what I am thinking. Because all that is moving, that is chera, which is having 4 legs, which is having 2 legs, they have the mind and intellect at their own potential. But even the inanimated bodies do have the tattva. So, because when it contacts a particular element of Panchabhuta, it reacts based on its characteristics. So, everything that is matter, whether it is inert matter or it is active matter, they do have the subtle. The way we define the subtleness is different. That's what is when I'm trying to put my thoughts over it, this is what is my understanding. And also,
Perhaps, sorry, sir, if I can clarify to this point, perhaps you are describing the characteristics of matter which is based on the constitution of Panchabhutas.
That's right, sir.
But still, the tattva, the essence which differentiates the various characteristics of matter is based on the Panchabhutas. It is not based on subtle matter. Panchabhutas are the 5 elements. It is not subtle matter. Subtle matter refers to mind, intellect, and vasanas.
You're absolutely right.
So the characteristics of matter is attributed to Panchabhutas. So in an inanimate body, dead body, or in inert matter, there is no subtle matter. That is established, which you agree to it, right? But the characteristics of matter is based on the Panchabhutas, not on the tattva, which is subtle matter you're referring to.
Guruji, from your own class, what I heard, when we talk about the Panchikarana is based on the Panchabhuta itself. So whether it is mind, intellect, and also the vasanas, when you compare with the Panchikarana, the pure Panchabhutas and the impure Panchabhutas with a combination, they are also. So ultimately, it is the Panchabhuta, whether it is mind, intellect, or vasana, or whether it is inert matter, it is a combination of Panchabhutas. So there is hardly any difference. One has Chetana, another one is Achetana. That's it. So when you say mind, intellect is not made of Panchabhuta, then what about the Panchikarana, that what you have described in your earlier class?
No. I'm only trying to tell the subtle matter. It's not all pervasive. That's what you have to come to. I'm not disagreeing to the point that there is a gross and subtle matter. Both are products of Panchikarana. That's what matter is. We all come under the category of matter, which are a product of Panchikarana. Panchikarana, again, for some of you who don't know, don't worry. There is a concept taken from Atma Bodha of Panchikarana, where he talks of how these 5 elements go through a process of a pentamerous self-division and mutual combination. So these elements break up, divide, mutually combine to form gross matter and subtle matter. So gross elements form gross matter, subtle elements form subtle matter. That this is the basic info regarding what he's referring to. Now, though it is the elements that form, but that subtle elements is not everywhere. subtle elements are not permeating in inert matter. That you must accept that. If the fact that subtle matter, which is a combination of subtle elements, are not present, that therefore the inert matter is lifeless. That's the argument. It is still matter. All this matter one day has to go through that dissolution of complete non-existence because they're perishable in nature. So we are not contradicting anywhere. You're only adding more technical information to explain the same concept. So even in insentient matter, including dead body, subtle matter is absent. But that Atman, which is a life-giving force, is very much there. So we're not saying anything else from what we have said earlier. Okay, sir.
I have one more question, Guruji.
Yes, please.
As per the modern understanding and with our academic, learnings, so energy can be converted into matter and matter can be converted into energy. How do we attribute our learnings to understand this?
I already confessed earlier, I am not a good science student. So don't please grill me here on science. I will please listen to the recording. I said I am a very poor science student. So I will not enter. Testimony to this is Ashwati. Ashwati, I said or not, you can show a fan, will tell. Sir, I am saying pass to the question. There are scientists here in the classroom, they'll answer the question. Any philosophical questions, sir, please pass to me.
Sir, we are explaining the unknown through known. So that is the reason I'm asking this question.
Sir, I am also saying I don't know, sir. Please, can you please spare me when I say I don't know? Forgive me for my ignorance.
Sorry, sir.
Now I'll come to my familiar territory, sir. The familiar territory is, therefore, he says, thank you, Aparoji. Maybe we can have a discussion independently, sir. Okay. Therefore, form is indeed matter. What I've taken from what Suryaji has said earlier, that see the inner world, we're talking about the formless, the inner world which consists of your feelings and thoughts. These feelings and thoughts that are nothing but impressions. The impressions that have been created in your mind and intellect, the feelings and thoughts are nothing but our impressions because of the form that you've experienced. The form is responsible for the thoughts and ideas and feelings which are nothing but impressions because of the form. If the form did not exist, you don't have an impression of the form, isn't it? You had an ice cream in the past of a particular flavor. You have the impression of that ice cream of that flavor because you have tasted it in the past. Without experiencing the form of that ice cream, you wouldn't have the thought of ice cream in your mind or the intellect, isn't it? If you have not experienced it, you can't have a form or an impression in the mind. Furthermore, it is the formless world is also controlled in a relative sense. Don't take it and blow it out of proportion. Don't quote me 2 months later and say, in this class you said. I'm already cautioning you, especially Ramji. Don't quote me again this one, sir. The formless world is controlled, is regulated and sustained by the outer world of forms. The formless world is controlled, is sustained, is maintained by the outer world of forms. The impression of the world is only because of the form. If there's no form, there's no impression. Correct, Gayatri Ma?
Yes, Guruji.
So the form gets into your head as impression. I'm sure you'd agree. Out of sight, out of mind. What does it mean? What does that statement mean, Ma?
As long as we are able to perceive, we are just registering and creating that memory in our mind. Once the perceivable is gone, it goes out of our mind.
It's not that we are completely annihilated or eradicated, but this gross is instrumental, out of sight, out of mind. Therefore, he says, form is indeed matter. In fact, even self-control starts with gross control, and then you come to the subtle control. So first keep away from the gross sense objects because easier to control, and then comes the difficult part. I knew this was going to come. When I was preparing this, I knew this question was going to come. So I understand you very well, Ramji. Only thing is you're not understanding me at all. Huh?
No, sir, it's not convincing. So we have to discuss it again tomorrow.
No, not tomorrow, sir. Next satsang.
Yeah, next.
But your point is valid. As I said, you must take it in a specific context. Gross does not control subtle. The subtle controls the gross.
Correct.
But however, gross triggers the subtle thought. Therefore, gross is instrumental for subtle. The thought would not start without the gross conducive environment. It's like the seed would not sprout if the gross soil is not there. Yet the seed is that which produces the tree. Yet the gross soil is conducive, is important, is paramount. Without the soil, the seed will not sprout from the shelf or the cupboard where you have stacked it. The gross soil is very, very important. Therefore, he almost extended and says, therefore, gross is or form is matter.
So, yeah, okay. I mean, we can say that gross facilitates subtle in some cases, but we cannot say that gross controls subtle.
We are not saying control. We did not use the word control till now.
Formless world is regulated and controlled by the outside world of
okay, in that sense, or in that statement. Control in the sense, it triggers it.
It can trigger a thought.
To that extent, there's control.
Purely, I mean, we discussed this many times also, that pure physical abstinence need not necessarily control your thoughts, because your thoughts may be still around the sensory objects, right? So, in that context,
but a thought by itself is latent. You must understand this.
Yes.
There's so many vasanas in you. There's so many thoughts and vasanas in me. They're all latent. Why? Not because they don't have enough energy or potency, is because the conducive soil is not available.
Correct.
So therefore, form or gross triggers to that extent controls subtle thought. You can't, what you're saying is subtle controls the gross. Gross does not control the subtle, but gross heavily influences and conditions the subtle thought.
Yes.
Without the relevance and presence of gross, subtle has no role to play, as it were. Without the gross, like the impressions that you have formed has come from the gross experiences.
Yes.
Without, you remove the gross experiences of the form, there is no subtle existence.
So in that context, and I don't know whether it is connected or not, but if you have not seen the snake anytime in life, will you still mistake a rope for a snake?
No. You will mistake it to be a crack in the earth. Because you are from Rajasthan, where in summer the earth gets cracked. You thought there's another crack in the summer, that's all.
So that physical experience will influence your perceptions and thoughts. Yeah, condition. In that context, yeah, that is correct.
See, we are trying to get into the head of the Guru here, which is Pipalada. So therefore, we are trying to give a rational, acceptable rational argument. But this can't be taken as a Sanatana Dharma.
Yeah, I know.
There's a difference between a text vis-a-vis a Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma means eternal principles. The eternal principle is subtle controls the gross, full stop. Gross cannot control the subtle. But in the context, why does he say so? We are giving rational argument for a acceptance. It is not an irrational thought when he says, therefore, form is indeed matter. Because form is responsible for the mental impressions in the mind and intellect. Without that form or that actual experience, you can't have that impression in the mind. To that extent, we have to give credit to that statement. But we can't stretch beyond its limitation. When we stretch, then it becomes irrelevant or there's a fallacy. Okay, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. This is the reason why in Ramayana, I'm just mentioning it, when Rama has to shoot at Vali, in the conflict between Sugriva and Vali, the two monkey kings, brothers, Rama promised to kill Vali. And the reason why Rama hid behind a tree and shot Vali, perhaps you can stretch that to the context. Rama hid behind a tree to shoot Vali. Vali symbolizes sense objects. And Vali had a boon that anybody who faced him would take away or lose half his strength. Which means when you come in face to face with a sense object, you lose half your ability to control the sense object. Therefore, you must keep away from sense object if you want to exercise any control. You can't tell a fellow not to eat gulab jamun, putting a tray of gulab jamun in front of him. Very difficult. Gulab jamun has to go inside. You can't say no control. What control? All control gone out of the window. But when there is no gulab jamun, thought of gulab jamun will not come. In front of it, you can't control. You will become the temptation is too strong, you will not be able to control. Like you can't take a fellow to a pub and say, don't drink. He has got a weakness for drinking. And in a pub, you set up a meeting in a pub, that fellow will get drunk helplessly. You are a teetotaler. For you, pub or a ballroom doesn't make a difference. Because it has no influence. You have no vasana. Until you have tasted it and then start developing. The form of actually drinking creates an impression of what alcohol is, and then you may become a slave to it. But if you have not experienced, you say, I don't know what it is. I have no interest in it. I don't want it, you would say, because you have no experience. So the concept is acceptable to a certain point, but don't stretch it beyond a point and say gross controls the subtle. It does not. Subtle only controls the gross. Right? However, please come out of this confusion soon and be a part of that celebration and the event tomorrow. Don't say, sir, I couldn't come because I was caught up in the form and the formless and the subtle and the gross. So please come out of it and be a part of that event tomorrow. Gayatri Ma will announce.
Hari Om. Tomorrow we will not be having the Bhagavad Gita Satsang. We are celebrating the 4th anniversary of the Wisdom Institute at Sainik Puri. Request all members to please do attend. The program starts at 8 o'clock with Ganpati Homam and followed by a music concert, and then the talk will be by Guruji. So people who are interested in listening to Guruji's talk can join into the Zoom at 12. Hari Om.
I wish Gayatri Ma can bring a little emotion to the announcement. This was a railway station announcement, Madri. Train number platforms and nikal rahi hai. Train platform has left. This platform train is coming. So Gayatri Ma, please.
Guruji, I have no emotions.
I know you. There's a lot of, in fact, there's a lot of emotion in you. Those who know her, she's such a warm, such a lady with so much concern and care. But when you bring these official announcements, please inject a little emotion. We look forward to having you all for our annual celebration. We will be having this lovely home. And the month a little bit.
Hariom, somebody has posted that they want to know whether the music is online. Please note that there are some hitches, so we will not be having the music online at all. It's only Guruji's talk which will be telecast on Zoom.
This all no emotion required. Point blank, there will be no Zoom telecast. Full stop. This is very well accepted. It is a law. When Gayatri Ma says something, it's a law passed. So no questions asked. Thank you, Gayatri Ma. So look forward to seeing you all. And as she stated, the presentation, a brief one though, it will be telecasted on the usual Zoom link, so you can log in for that alone at the described time. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.